The idea of playing as a Deathclaw was one that was always appealing to me. Running around as the most iconic and vicious monster in the Commonwealth has a certain charm to it that isn't quite replicated anywhere else. So when I found out there was a playable Deathclaw mod and the thing is damn near 7 years old, I may have cried a little on the inside. Judging by the unique download count though, it seems I'm not the only one who's had trouble finding it, or just nobody cares, which I hope isn't true. And so another Fallout 4 playthrough begins. I don't remember why I made my character look like this. I was bored and had a few minutes to kill, not like it's really gonna matter though. I walked out to the living room and began my magic using the console commands. One prompt later, and I suddenly felt now more than ever that I needed a very good personality to get somewhere in life. I didn't want to be like every other Deathclaw people either shoot at or run away from, so I tried some other looks out. Most of them worked, some of them didn't and turned me back into a human. I don't want to look like a human. They remind me too much of myself, but that's a problem for another day entirely. I ultimately settled on the Red Deathclaw, and this is where the problems ensued. I suddenly find myself to be about 12 feet tall and about 3 C's thick, and I'm having trouble just walking to the front door. I'm there, but I'm not there. It's even more of a problem as the Vault Tech guy out there is watching me have an existential crisis just trying to get close enough to reply back to him. All of this because video game physics. To get around this, I tried to use the set scale command to make myself ever so slightly smaller just for this conversation, and I'm pretty sure this was an even bigger failure than the one I just experienced. I'm half the height of my wife at this point, and it's like I'm charging into an invisible brick wall. And if you've asked yourself at any point during the last 35 seconds or so why not just change back to a human, then you missed the entire point of this video. I was getting through this section no matter how long it took, damn it. I eventually was able to fix up my stats, here they are. Look at that lovely max strength. The newscaster played a very good role to break the news of weapons of mass destruction falling in multiple places along the surrounding New England area. I ran so fast to get to my new home in the vault. I have to protect the future of the Deathclaw species after all. It was in the vault that I discovered that getting through some doors was actually easier in first person. I don't understand video game mechanics at all, and considering the entire foundation of this is built off of a mod, I'm not even going to question why. Trying to get into the cryopod as a Deathclaw apparently doesn't even work. I had to jump in as a human to 1, actually fit in the damn thing, and 2, to, actually make the game progress forward. It's one problem after another with the opening sequence of this game, and by this point, I'm starting to get frustrated. Who would have guessed that by changing your inherent value as a human being before the bombs fall completely f***s over your game? Even running through the entire sequence on a brand new character apart from the one I had made beforehand just results in more of the same. I am considering calling this an experiment at this point. Excuse me while I go bash my head into a wall approximately 49 times. I happen to have a save right before exiting Vault 111 from a different playthrough, so I just used that, changed the name and stat values once again, and progressed forward. Ah, Sanctuary, a hidden commodity filled with despair, destruction, and death. A perfect home for the video game protagonist. Codsworth and I had a lovely spat, and from one Deathclaw to another robot, he's just fine. He took the initiative of exterminating the local wildlife that was inhabiting the neighbors' houses after all. 210 years of waiting for my return, and only now he decides to get done. I take my statement back. I need to replace him with a Mr. Gutsy. On my way to the hardware store to buy one, some nasties made the grave mistake of firing their bullets at me in an attempt to tame me so I could be their pet. I'm sorry, but simply aiming your gun at a creature and shouting nonsensical bullshit isn't gonna work. Your level isn't high enough. Their punishment for failure was getting sent to the great big ballpark in the sky. I'm not exactly sure what happened here. I pressed some button on my keyboard and yeeted right into the ceiling. Also, for some reason, attacking sometimes loses the red color on my skin, and that is more annoying than Preston Garvey asking me to go save the 9,000th settlement this month alone. Speaking of Preston Garvey, what a segue that was. I do not believe there is another outfit on God's green earth that is more fitting than what he is currently wearing. Should he be named Preston Woody or Woody Garvey? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Do not ask how I bypassed the power armor on the roof. Instead, ask why as a Deathclaw, I can fully control a minigun if I damn well pleased. A Deathclaw with a minigun attached to him like a fucking watch. I have seen it all. The imminent showdown that everybody clicked on this video for. Deathclaw versus Deathclaw. It was going to be a legendary fight told through chronicles for centuries, and then I mutilated it beyond all recognition in 6 hits. I cannot lie to you, that was arguably the most underwhelming boss fight I have ever been in. If you can even call it a boss fight, that is. And while the elusive Mr. Gutsy unit was nowhere in sight, I at least got paid some money, so I can at least attempt to be a responsive— oh, who am I trying to kid here? I'm running around as a creature with a demon for a face. Shop owners will probably just give me the unit I'm looking for and most likely pay me to never bother them again. Maybe I should play as this monster more often. On my way to the Great Green Jewel, I stumbled upon the Drumlin Diner. I always make the joke of sending people to the great big something or other in the sky, but it was quite literal this time. I meant to converse with these lovely folks, but I'm still a big noob at keyboard and mouse controls and literally sent one of them flying 50 feet or so in the air. I tried doing it again because I got chuckles out of it, but apparently enacting a finishing move completely locks your camera into place. All the exciting parts happen off screen, and it makes me want to cry my eyes out. I couldn't quite get into the diner itself because my fat ass said, "Ah ha ha, you're funny," and I was left questioning a lot of things as I moved on. A lot of doors are that size, and if I'm already having trouble squeezing through them, then when am I gonna hit the point of no return? Since some chemicals in my brain were doing funny things at the time, I was feeling a bit bloodthirsty, and it just so happened that the fire support mission prompt appeared. When Deelwheels is feeling thirsty, things go wrong. I decided to take a nice visit to the Cambridge police station, where an even bigger walkway than the one a little bit ago still prevented my access. Here are some feral ghouls running amok, and the game still wants to piss me off. No matter, once the ghouls made it out in several hundred pieces, innocent civilians met my innocent claws. One of these nouns wasn't so innocent anymore, the other missed their life support payment, so it was permanently turned off. I'm not gonna lie, my memory is utterly shit. I'm probably going to have dementia or something by the time I'm 52, so when I started taking bullets from a building that was seemingly closed off, I was starting to wonder if the mods I downloaded broke the game in even more places, or if I was just losing my mind a lot faster than I initially thought. I did an entire perimeter sweep of the building, while taking damage mind you, and it only took until a super mutant appeared out of nowhere and his dog fainting right through this barrier for me to understand what in the blue hell was happening. It was like window tint, but for a building, without any glass left. Like, you can't make this shit up. I scoured around for other buildings hoping to find the same thing somewhere, but no dice. Just the Trinity Tower. During my rampage through the streets trying to hopefully find the same thing, I stumbled upon the combat zone, which was great because now I finally found myself a daycare for all of my psychological needs. Raider scum were everywhere, and I am ashamed to admit that my transversal skills throughout this joint makes a baby's first step look like Jesus walking on water in comparison to whatever the hell I was doing. I am by no means a perfect person. About the only thing I can do right in this game is cleaning out the rats that make any place their home. I am a successful individual. After the combat zone left me feeling even worse than before, I found a small spark of hope. After the complete joke that was the other Deathclaw back in the Concord area, I needed a new monster that could live up to the hype, and I truly believed I had found one. Mr. Edgar Swan, Institute worker turned super mutant behemoth, as if we needed any more reason to hate the Institute. I decided that I would be a good person today and end his suffering by sticking my fingers right into his throat and pulling in opposite directions. Think of how much pain and suffering he went through in his life, and it culminated with a superior species establishing dominance. Nature is healing. While fighting some dumbass super mutants, I remembered Good Neighbor wasn't terribly far away, and I was greeted with a cursed image of what I called too much first person. First impressions always make the loudest statement, and some fool who looks like he's got a bigger forehead than me thought he was gonna sell his insurance. In the end, those big bloody accidents he was talking about came true. And if the first person I met was already trying this extortion crap, then surely the rest of them would follow suit not too long after. Target 1 was the mayor. Target 2 was virtually everybody else who came outside. Things get put into a certain perspective when you realize the block you live on is larger than the entire town. Don't get me wrong, while the block I live on certainly has a numbers advantage, we would absolutely be taking the L if a firefight ever broke out between us. Not even the combatants in the combat zone held a candle to the brutality of the residents of Goodneighbor. When has that ever stopped me, though? This place was the one and only to almost completely cripple me. I don't believe I have ever personally seen a Deathclaw limping. Even when bullets are raining down at probably 2,000 per minute, I chew them all up for a snack and swat the pest away. Lo and behold, another town completely obliterated by my unrivaled bloodshed. Trust me, I am okay. I don't need to be checked for brain damage or into a mental institution. My emotional state is completely fine. I was going to write an epic tale about my fight to the death with the beast known as the Yaoguai, but I counted 1, 2, 3 and it just never woke up. Probably because I sent its ribcage blasting off Team Rocket style. At this point, I just accepted the fact that everybody I meet gets turned into a cube of organs and bones. And Bunker Hill was literally right in front of me, so why not clear the place out as well? I can't find a Mr. Gutsy unit to replace that inadequate machine back home. Nobody wants to be my friend. Everybody wants to rob me blind, and spilling the color red across a litany of walls is just a fun pastime. Although compared to the last pit stop in Goodneighbor, the various caravan guard and raider dumbnuts roaming around were softer than baby shit. It's one monster versus a militia of guns, and we got this coward leaving all of his friends behind to save his own skin. Everybody's gonna die at some point or another, at least do so with some honor. I've circled pretty much everywhere around it at this point, so it's fitting to finally visit Diamond City, the great big something or other of the Boston. Yeah, that's how that saying goes, right? I must admit, I have developed a little vendetta against mayors of towns. They're the ones in the authority position, and more often than not, they're the biggest jackasses. The only people who volunteer for positions of power are ego-fueled psychopaths and the moderators of most subreddits, particularly the ones for the r/art subreddit. My god, the power trip those fools are on recently. There was a naughty individual who got off on taking pot shots at me from the VIP suites, and this one in particular had to go. You'd think feral beasts like me don't know how to operate machinery like elevators, and that's where you're wrong. I didn't think I'd be able to fit on this thing, but the power of video game physics was on my side for once, and the lad soon fell with his gravestone engraved with "rest in pieces." Also, today I learned that Deathclaws are absolute computer wizards. I didn't even have to try, and I was right into Mayor McDonough's PC. I didn't care about his business lectures and the like. I just stole all his belongings just because. With the amount of bullshit I had to go through just to progress into the game, i.e. getting to the current year of 2287, and virtually every damn door in the Commonwealth being the most aggravating thing to get through, this is where I'm at my wit's end for today. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving it a like, or if you hated it, leave it a dislike. And if you haven't already, and you like what you see on the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Helps me out a ton. Shout out to all my Patreon supporters for making videos like this one possible. Have a good one. Peace out.